Okay, so just to demonstrate the problem, I'm actually filming an old video of mine. So we start off at about 6 psi. Then in about 6 minutes, say, it drops to below 3 psi. So yeah, there's a better view there. And then it drops to close to 0, and eventually it conks out. Okay, this is a 1977 Chevy 454 motor. So far the work that has been done is it's got a new fuel pump, mechanical fuel pump, and that did not fix the problem. I've done tests where I can easily blow back through the two fuel tanks, so they're not blocked, and the line doesn't seem to be blocked or have any holes in it. When I installed this fuel pressure gauge, that's when I noticed that it did have a fuel pressure drop problem. This is a push rod, and it sits up inside on an angle, sort of going up inside, and this push rod drives the fuel pump. I have read on the internet that these can wear out, so if this was shorter, it wouldn't drive the fuel pump through its complete cycle. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Just going to remove the fuel pump, get the old push rod out. It'll just slide out by itself, and we'll compare the length, and if the old push rod is shorter, that means it's worn, and no doubt then that's what the problem is, a worn push rod. Okay, so I'll try to zoom in. So there's a fuel line there. Where are we? Just there, and there's a fuel line there. I'm going to disconnect them. There's two bolts. One's there, one's on the other side. That'll remove the fuel pump, and then we'll see. Okay, this is looking from underneath the truck. So there's the fuel line there, and then you've got the two attaching nuts just there and on the other side. Okay, so we can see the fuel pump's being removed. The rubber fuel line is it's still connected. Now that nut there, that has to come out, and then the push rod will drop through the hole that nut's in. Okay, well, surprise, surprise. The old silver push rod is next to the new one, and there is absolutely no difference in the length of those push rods. So okay, well, the only thing that I can find is with the old push rod here, it is bent a little bit on one end, and also just in general it's rounded on the edge. You can see this one is, the new one is straight on the edge. I'll just try to focus that. Just flat on the end. But apart from that, I don't see any real mechanical issues with the old push rod. Okay, now for the tricky part. So the push rod has to be on the upside of this lever here. The lever drives the fuel pump. So you have to try to get the push rod going back up in its hole and push it up, and then seat this in there quickly enough before the push rod falls down. Okay, a few tips. When you put your push rod in, make sure it's got plenty of grease on it. That way it'll sit up inside the engine and it won't fall down. Make sure you've got your gasket on, and sort of get the fuel pump up and push the lever down in front of the push rod. But get this bolt in first, not this one. So it'll be easier to get this bolt in first, and then line it up and get this one in. Put grease on the gasket so it'll sit in place. I think the problem here is maybe the lobe or the cam inside the engine is worn, and so that would mean I'd have to put an electric fuel pump on the engine. But somehow I don't think so, because this engine is in pretty good condition. So there may be something I just don't understand about the fuel pressure. For instance, when you're driving it, that it increases, and while you're idling, it decreases, or something like that. The highs and lows of owning a spare car, hobby car. Okay, well, surprise, surprise, the fuel pressure is up. So it's up by about 0.4 of a PSI. So before it was running just under 6, and now it's running at 6.5 or 6.45 of PSI. But the test is, will the fuel pressure hold? And have to wait and see. But I don't think so. There really wasn't any difference between the two push rods. Okay, well, she's been idling for 10 minutes. So we've still got the fuel pressure drop problem. That's if it's a problem. So like I say, when you're driving it, it increases. When it's idling, it just naturally decreases. Or the actual cam inside the engine's worn. But anyway, I'll keep on going, and maybe one day I'll find out what the answer is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, or it's of some value. Please like and subscribe.